In the previous video, we looked at how to add a cube, adding a subsurf modifier, and then adding loop cuts to have a beveled model at the end. In this video, let's continue our journey to create this simple radio. To open our previously saved work, simply select the project from the splash screen. And if you don't see that project in the recent section, select Open, and then locate the project from the file browser and select it. Or go to File, Open, and select the project. Now press 1 on numpad for the front view, and then press the Tab key to enter edit mode. Now if you look at the radio, it has 3 separate boxes. So, let's try to create that first. First, enter vertex selection mode by clicking over here. Now left click and drag over the bottom vertices to select the bottom part. You might think everything is fine, but when you orbit around, you can see that the back part of the cube didn't get selected at all. To select these, turn the X-ray option from here, or use the hotkey Alt+C. With this turned on, you can select the parts in the back as well. Now we need to move this part up a little. So, select the Move tool from the toolbar. Now since we need to move this in the Z-axis, left-click and drag the blue arrow upwards. Let's place it such that the bottom part is 1 unit down from the X-axis. Now again with X-ray mode active, select the bottom vertices. We will duplicate it. To duplicate it, go to the Mesh option above, and select Duplicate. Then you can choose its position, and then left-click to confirm. Let's undo that. Now, when you duplicate and then cancel it with the right click on the mouse, you may think the duplication has been cancelled. But when we try to move it, we can see that only the movement was cancelled, and not the duplication. So, keep that in mind. Undo it. Now, the hotkey to duplicate is Shift+D. Now, simply right-click to cancel the movement. Then select the extrusion tool from the toolbar, and left-click drag the plus button here a little. Maybe around 1 unit will do. Let's duplicate this as well with Shift+D, and then cancel with the right click. Then instead of using the extrude tool from the toolbar, let's go back to the selection tool, and use the hotkey E to extrude. Then after around 3 units, left-click to confirm the position. Now, press Ctrl+R to turn on the loop cut tool, and take the cursor near a vertical edge, and left-click to make a horizontal cut. Now slide this down a bit, so it matches the top loop cut, and left-click to confirm the position. Add another one, but this time slide the loop more towards the boundary. Now let's add another one in the middle, right-click to cancel the sliding, and then use Ctrl+B to bevel it. Then left-click to confirm. Now select this loop with Alt left-click. We can turn off the X-ray mode by pressing Alt+C. Now slide the loop down with double G, or just by pressing G, and then dragging the middle mouse button in the Z-axis. Now let's actually rename this as radio body. Now let's create a circular hole in the body. There are different ways you can do that in Blender. Let me show you one of them. First, add a vertical loop cut. Then bevel it using Ctrl+B. Now slide this to the right side by pressing G twice. We added this loop so that the hole doesn't affect the outside loop here. Let's add one more here. And add one horizontal one as well. Also, bevel it. And then one horizontal cut in the middle, and one vertical in the middle. Now, we need to join these 2 vertices, and these 2 vertices. First, let's select these 2 vertices. So, select one vertex, and the other one by holding down the Shift key. Then go to the vertex menu up top, and select Connect Vertex Path. This will connect them. Now select the other 2, and connect them using the hotkey J. Now go to the Bevel tool option from the toolbar, and left-click drag the yellow dot. It looks like nothing happened. So, expand the operator panel below, and select vertices instead of edges. And adjust the width value from here. Now, this is not the circle we are aiming for. It's uneven, meaning there is something we need to fix first. This is because we scaled our mesh in object mode, and we need to apply the scaling. Scaling in edit mode wouldn't be giving this issue. I did the scaling in object mode intentionally to address this specific issue. So, let's undo it, and then switch back to object mode. Now, under the Object menu, select Apply Scale, or use the hotkey Ctrl+A, and select Scale. Now, switch back to edit mode, and left-click drag the yellow dot to bevel. And in the operator panel, select vertices, and adjust the width value. Let's undo it as well, and bevel using the hotkey instead. First, go back to the selection tool. The hotkey to bevel vertices in Blender is Ctrl+, Shift+B. You can also simply press Ctrl+B, and then press V to bevel. Furthermore, you can also join these vertices, and these two vertices, if you want every face of your model to be quads. Now you can simply extrude this with the inside, and left-click to confirm the position. But since this is giving some shading issues, you can add a loop cut in the middle, and then bevel that loop to tighten the edges. But you know that already. So undo it, and let's look at a slightly different way to do the same. Select the Inset tool from the toolbar, and then left-click drag to inset. Then from the operator panel, you can adjust the thickness. Let's undo these as well, and use the hotkey to perform this function. Go to the selection tool. If you press I on the keyboard, you can inset the selected face. Left-click to confirm it. Also, inset this face as well. Now we need to select this face as well. So, to increase the selection, press Ctrl and the plus button on the numpad. And to decrease the selection, press Ctrl and minus on the numpad. You can also do the same by going to select menu up top and select more or less to increase or decrease the selection. Now, press E to enable the extrude tool and extrude these faces a bit inside. Now, you can add one more loop cut over here to tighten the edges here. Now, if you select this loop and bevel it, then select this loop and bevel that as well if you don't like a circular hole. Now, let's create an outer ring. So, Alt left click on this edge loop to select it. Then duplicate it using Shift+D. Cancel the movement with the right click. Then press E to extrude, and right click on the mouse, so it stays right there. Then press S to scale, and left click after it's scaled up a little. You can also use the scale tool from the toolbar, and left click drag anywhere inside the circle, except the blue and red line to scale. Now, we need to select the ring without selecting the body. So, with some part of that selected, go to select menu, and select linked. Or use the hotkey Ctrl+L, after you have selected some part of it. Now, press E to extrude it, and left click to confirm after extruding a bit. Now, since this ring was created in edit mode of the radial body, it inherited the modifier property of the body. Now let's separate this from the body. In order to do that, we need to select every part of it first. So, press Ctrl+L to select it. Then press P, and select selection to separate it. You can also go to the mesh option above, and select selection under separate. Now in object mode, select the ring and press the / on the keyboard to go to its local view. You can also go to the view menu, and select toggle local view. This way we can only work with the selected object, without the other objects interfering. Then press Tab to go to its edit mode. Then press 3 for face selection, or simply activate it from here. Now, Alt left click on the back side of the ring, to select the face loop. Then press X, and choose faces to delete the faces, since that part will not be visible anyway. Now you can exit out of the local view by pressing the /, as well as edit mode by pressing Tab. Click the right mouse button, and select Shade Smooth to make it smooth. Let's name this as Ring by pressing F2. Now, select the body and switch to edit mode. Then click on the eye symbol near the ring, in the outliner to hide it. Press 1 for vertex selection mode, or select from here. Now, select 5 of these vertices. Then duplicate using Shift+D, and cancel the movement with the right click. Now, we need to move this a little on the X-axis. But instead of moving it with the Move tool from here, we can also use the hotkey G to move it. But after pressing G on the keyboard, the selected moves freely. But we only want it to move in the X-axis. So, press X to lock the movement in X-axis. Then left-click to confirm the position. I also want this to be slightly bigger than the hole, so press S to scale, and since we want to scale it up in the Z-axis, press E. Then left-click after scaling it up a bit. Now, press E to extrude, and press X to lock it in the X-axis. Left click to confirm the position. Then we need to make this straight as well. So, with these vertices selected, press S, then X to lock it in the X-axis, and then 0. Adjust the position again if required, with G and X. Now, press Ctrl and L to select the panel. Press E to extrude a bit, and then left click to confirm. Press Ctrl plus L again to select it. Then press P, and select selection. Then press Tab to exit out of edit mode, select the panel, and switch to the front view. Now press Tab again, to enter its edit mode, and add a vertical loop cut. Then slide it to the right side, and left click to confirm. Add another vertical loop cut. We need this one to align with this loop, but the loop here is more like this one. So, to align it with this one, press E while sliding. And if it's still in the wrong direction, you will need to flip it. To flip it in the other direction, press F. Then left click to confirm the position. For those who are using the loop cut tool, you can make a cut first. Then in the operator panel, mark the even option, and then the flip option. Then you can slide the edge loop by sliding the factor slider. Furthermore, you can also add more loop cuts to tighten the edges. But I like it better without the extra loops, so undo it. Now press / for its local view. Then press Ctrl+1 on the numpad for back view. You can also click on the green white dot over here for the back view. After making sure that you are in back view, left click drag to select these faces. After selecting, make sure no extra face has been selected by accident. Let's assume you did select a face by mistake. So, to deselect it, shift select on it again. Another way to select faces like these will be to first select a starting face. Then shift select the end face. Now, go to select menu up top, select linked, select shortest path. This will select the shortest path between them. But if you expand the operator panel from below, and mark the fill region, all the required faces get selected. There is also a hotkey to use this function. You will have to first select the first face. And then hold Ctrl and Shift key, then left click on the last face. Now press X, and select faces to delete them, since this part won't be visible. You can exit out of the local view now, by pressing the / exit out of edit mode as well, and shade it smooth. And you can rename it too. Let's unhide the ring as well. Now, in my case, I want the panel to move a little on the right side, so I press G, then X to move it a little. Also, I want the ring to have slightly more thickness. So, I select the ring, and go to its edit mode. Then Alt left click here, to select this face loop. And press S to scale. Now, let's create the buttons. First, make sure you are in object mode. Now, you might have noticed this object here since the beginning. So, let's address it. This is called the 3D cursor. It has multi-uses. Like for example, whenever you add any object in the viewport, that object originates from where the cursor is placed. Currently, it's in the world origin. In order to move it, select the cursor tool from the toolbar, and left-click anywhere on the viewport to place it there. Let's go back to the selection tool. The shortcut to place the cursor is Shift key plus right mouse button. Now switch to front view, then shift right click over here to place the cursor here. Now add a cube. Since it's too big, we need to scale this down. So, select the scale tool from the toolbar, then left click drag on the white circle to scale it down. Now, we can also scale it down in the y-axis as well. Here the green line stands for the y-axis, so left click and drag it. Let's undo these, and see a quicker way to do the same. So, go to the selection tool, and press S to activate the scale tool. Then left click after scaling down. And to scale down in the y-axis, press S, then press Y to lock the scaling in the y-axis. Left click to confirm. Now, we need to bevel this. Earlier we used a subdivision modifier, and added support loops for the bevel effect. But this time, let's use a bevel modifier. To add it, go to Modifier Properties. Select Add Modifier, and choose Bevel Modifier from the second column. Now increase the amount value to something like 0.4, and segment to 3. And then in Edit mode, select the face at the back, and delete it. Now, if you are paying attention, you will remember objects scaled in object mode needs their scale to be applied. Even though there seems to be no problem currently, there might be some later if you decide to unwrap this model. So, press Ctrl+A and apply the scale. Now, you need to change the amount value here. Let's change it to something really small. Let's go for 0.002. You can shade it smooth and then rename this as button. Now, we need 2 more buttons over here, so let's duplicate it 2 times. You can use Shift+D to duplicate, but let's use Alt+D instead for duplicating. By doing this, if you edit your model in edit mode, all of them get affected. And since we need the 3 buttons to be identical, duplicating with Alt+D makes sense. So, press Alt+D to duplicate, then lock the movement in the X-axis by pressing X. You can also duplicate it by going over the object menu up top, and then selecting Duplicate Linked. Or simply right-click and select Duplicate Linked. Now we can make the indicator here, using the same cube from the button. But since we want this to have a different shape and material, we can duplicate it using Shift+D. Then in edit mode, press A to select all of it. Or go to select menu up top and select all. Then press S to scale and X to scale it on X-axis. Now let's rename this as indicator. Now, if you press Shift+C, it will recenter the 3D cursor to the world origin. Or you can also go to View, Align View, and then select Center Cursor. That should do it for today. Now you can go to File and save it. Or if you want to save it as a separate file, select Save As. You can also use the hotkey Ctrl, Shift, and As. The bottom part is red, meaning the name is already in use. So, you can type in a new name here, or simply click on the plus symbol here to get a number increment. Then select Save As. Hope you were able to follow up till now. If you did, leave a like down below, and turn notifications on after you hit the subscribe button. Stay safe and stay healthy. I look forward to seeing you in the next part of this course. Thanks for watching.